Samuel Carter was known in his town as a quiet and trustworthy young man. He was not the type to start fights or argue loudly. Instead, he preferred calm conversations, honest agreements, and peaceful solutions. He worked as a horse trader, a job he had learned from his father. Every morning he would wake up before the sunrise, feed the horses, brush their coats, and check their hooves. He treated the animals with great care, believing that a person who cared for his animals would always walk the right path in life. One late afternoon, when the sun was painting the sky orange and gold, a rider from a nearby ranch arrived at Samuel's home. The rider carried a short message. Miguel, a rancher who had bought 2 horses from Samuel, had still not paid the remaining money he owed. The payment was already 2 months late. Samuel sighed as he held the message. He was not angry. Miguel was not a bad man. He was just known for being slow with payments. But 2 horses were valuable, and Samuel had other buyers waiting. The money was important for his work. Without it, he could not buy supplies or feed for the rest of his horses. Samuel knew he had to go. He packed a small bag of food, filled his water canteen, and saddled his favorite horse, a calm brown mare named Lily. Before leaving, he informed his older brother that he would return in a few days. His brother nodded, trusting him to handle things with his usual patience. Samuel rode out early the next morning while the sky was still pale and the air carried a cool breeze. The road to Miguel's settlement was long. It passed through open fields, dusty trails, and an area close to Apache lands. Samuel had always been respectful when crossing these areas. His father had taught him that these lands belonged to people with strong traditions and deep respect for their ancestors. If a traveler behaved politely and did nothing wrong, there was no reason for trouble. As he rode closer to the region, he slowed his horse. He kept his eyes open but calm. The land was quiet and peaceful. Birds flew across the sky, and the breeze carried the scent of dry grass. Once in a while, Samuel spotted signs that people had passed through, footprints, a fire pit, or woven baskets left to dry in the sun. He kept moving with care. By the time he reached Miguel's settlement in the afternoon, he felt the long ride in his shoulders and back. The small settlement looked tired. The ground was dry, and the few crops growing nearby looked weak from the lack of water. Miguel came out to greet him, his face lined with worry. "Samuel, I thought you might come soon," Miguel said, forcing a small smile. Samuel dismounted his horse and shook his hand. "I'm not here to cause trouble, Miguel. I just came to talk." Miguel led him inside his simple home. Samuel noticed the broken fence outside, the tired animals, and the worried looks on the faces of Miguel's children. Inside, Miguel confessed that things had been difficult. A shortage of water had damaged his crops, a few cattle had fallen sick, and he had spent most of his money on medicine and repairs. Samuel listened quietly. He understood the situation. Life in these lands was not easy for anyone. Still, he needed to collect the money. It was his livelihood. "I will pay you," Miguel promised. "I just need a little more time. Maybe 1 more week." Samuel looked at him and saw sincerity in his eyes. Miguel was not trying to trick him. He was simply struggling. Samuel considered his choices. He could demand the payment immediately and take goods instead of money, or he could give Miguel more time. His father had always told him that a good man helped others when he could. "You can have more time," Samuel finally said. "A week is fine. I will wait." Relief washed over Miguel's face, and he thanked Samuel again and again. Samuel stayed for a moment to drink water and rest, but he did not want to use up Miguel's limited supplies. Instead, he walked outside to look around the area. As he stood near the edge of the settlement, he noticed a small Apache trading camp a short distance away. A few people were moving around, setting up blankets, preparing baskets, and arranging items for trade. Samuel had seen such camps before. The Apache traders often visited nearby lands to exchange goods like woven blankets, handmade tools, and dried herbs. Samuel was about to turn away when he noticed someone. A young woman was arranging beautifully woven blankets on a line, letting them catch the breeze. Her movements were calm and confident. She wore a long woven dress and had 2 braids tied neatly down her back. There was something peaceful about the way she worked, as if she understood the land better than anyone else. Samuel found himself watching for a short moment, curious but respectful. He then reminded himself to be careful. It was important not to stare or seem rude. He turned back toward Miguel's home, telling himself that he was only tired from the long ride. Later that evening, Samuel sat on a small wooden stool outside the settlement, letting Lily rest after the long journey. As he ate a piece of bread from his bag, he saw a small group of Apache traders walking toward the settlement. They carried baskets and blankets to offer in exchange for tools and small goods, and among them was the same young woman he had seen earlier. She walked with quiet confidence, her eyes observing everything around her without fear. Samuel noticed that her expression was calm, relaxed, and open. When some children from the settlement ran near her, she smiled softly at them, showing no discomfort. The children smiled back, curious about her colorful dress and the patterns in her blankets. Samuel watched this from a distance. Something about her presence felt gentle, yet strong. She did not speak loudly or move fast. She simply existed with a kind of natural harmony that made people feel at ease around her. Later, Miguel approached Samuel again and said, "The Apache traders come here every few weeks. They are good people as long as you show respect." Samuel nodded. "I know. My father taught me that." Miguel pointed toward the young woman and said, "Her name is Asha. She often comes with her uncle, who is a well-known trader. They help many families." Samuel did not respond immediately. He simply watched Asha interact politely with the settlement women, exchanging blankets for flour and small tools. She carried herself with quiet pride. As the sky began to darken and the stars appeared, Samuel found a small place to rest for the night. He lay on his blanket, listening to the faint sounds of people settling down. His mind drifted back to the responsibilities waiting for him, his horses, his brother, and the debt he had come to collect. But another thought lingered quietly in his mind, a thought he tried to ignore. He wondered who Asha was. He wondered why seeing her had stayed in his memory longer than it should have. Samuel turned on his side, trying to sleep, but the calm image of Asha arranging the blankets returned again and again. He told himself it meant nothing. He was here for work, not for distractions. But his heart, gentle and honest, whispered that something unusual had begun, something he did not yet understand. And so, under the soft night sky, far from his home, Samuel rested slowly, unaware that this journey, which had begun with a simple debt, was about to change the direction of his life forever. The next morning began quietly. A soft layer of cool air covered the land, and the faint glow of sunlight spread across the horizon. Samuel woke early, as he always did. He brushed Lily's coat, checked her hooves, and gave her a small piece of dried apple from his bag. Taking care of his horse always helped him start the day with a clear mind. But even as he worked, Samuel found his thoughts drifting toward the Apache trading camp he had seen the day before. He told himself that he was only curious about their goods, their blankets, and their way of life. Yet deep inside, he knew it was more than that. The image of Asha arranging those colorful blankets had stayed in his mind the whole night. Still, Samuel reminded himself of his purpose. He had come to collect a debt, nothing more. He was not here to get distracted. Once Miguel paid him, or once the week ended, Samuel would return home and continue his work. After finishing his small breakfast, Samuel walked toward the edge of the settlement. He noticed that the Apache traders were already awake. Their camp was simple and tidy. Blankets were folded neatly, baskets were arranged in rows, and a small fire burned at the center where some elders sat warming their hands. Samuel stood a short distance away, unsure if he should approach. He did not want to seem rude or unwanted. But as he was turning to leave, a friendly voice called out to him in Spanish. "You are the horse trader, yes?" Samuel turned and saw Asha's uncle approaching. The older man had a strong face, gentle eyes, and a calm smile. Samuel nodded politely. "Yes, sir," he replied. "My name is Samuel." "I am Nantan," the man said. "We saw you passing yesterday. You rode quietly with respect." "That is good." Samuel felt relief. Respect was important to him, and he was glad it was noticed. "I try my best," he said. Nantan smiled and motioned for Samuel to follow him. "Come, share some warm tea. It is good to start the day with something warm." Samuel hesitated for a moment, but then he agreed. It felt safe, and something in Nantan's voice put him at ease. As they walked toward the small fire, Samuel noticed Asha sitting nearby. She was weaving a simple pattern into a long strip of cloth. Her fingers moved with practiced ease, and her eyes were focused on her work. But when she glanced up and saw Samuel, her expression remained calm, almost unreadable, yet polite. Nantan poured tea into a wooden cup and handed it to Samuel. The smell was earthy and comforting. Samuel thanked him and took a small sip. It warmed his chest and relaxed his shoulders. "You travel alone?" Nantan asked. "Yes," Samuel replied. "I came to speak with Miguel." "About the horses," Nantan said knowingly. Samuel nodded. "Yes." Nantan gave a thoughtful nod. "Miguel works hard, but he has had many troubles. You are patient. That is good for both of you." Samuel smiled slightly, appreciating the older man's understanding. They continued talking about simple things: the land, the weather, the difficulty of finding water, and the importance of kindness in hard times. Asha listened quietly as she worked, her eyes occasionally flickering toward Samuel as if studying him from the corner of her vision. Samuel noticed, but he tried to act natural. He did not want to appear strange or make her uncomfortable. After a while, Nantan stood up to check on some goods, leaving Samuel and Asha near each other. There was a calm silence, the kind that did not feel heavy or awkward. Samuel watched her weave for a moment, admiring how steady her hands were. "You weave very well," he said softly. Asha stopped and looked at him. Her expression was calm but not cold. "Thank you," she replied. Her voice was gentle but strong. "My mother taught me when I was very young." "It must take a lot of patience," Samuel said. "It does," Asha replied. "But patience is good. It teaches the mind to stay peaceful." Samuel nodded. "I think patience is important too." A small smile appeared on Asha's face, so slight that Samuel almost missed it. "Yes," she said. "I can see that in you." Samuel felt a warm feeling in his chest. Her words were simple, yet they touched something deep inside him. He did not know what to say next, but he wanted to keep talking. Before he could think of anything, one of the children from the settlement ran over with excitement. The child held a broken wooden toy and asked Asha if she could fix it. Asha studied the toy, then nodded gently. She took a small knife from her bag and began repairing the broken part with soft, careful movements. The child waited eagerly, watching her every step. Samuel watched too. There was something peaceful about the way Asha treated people, kindly, without rushing, without showing impatience. When she finished fixing the toy, she handed it back to the child. The child grinned and ran off happily. Asha watched him go, and then glanced at Samuel again, as though she were wondering what he thought. "He is a good child," she said. Samuel smiled. "He is. And you helped him quickly." Asha shrugged softly. If we do small kindnesses, the world becomes easier for everyone. Samuel looked at her for a quiet moment. You speak with a lot of wisdom, he said. Asha lowered her eyes slightly. I learned from my elders. Their conversation continued gently, moving from simple topics like weather and travel to small stories from their lives. Samuel found himself talking more than he expected, telling her about his horses, his family, and the routines he followed back home. Asha listened attentively, asking small questions that showed she was genuinely interested. In return, Asha told him about her community's traditions, how they moved with the seasons, and how each person had responsibilities based on their strengths. She did not speak loudly or boastfully. Everything she said carried calm confidence, as if her words came from a place of quiet understanding. As they talked, Samuel realized something surprising. He felt comfortable around her in a way he rarely felt with strangers. There was no pressure, no judgment, no fear of saying the wrong thing. Her presence felt steady, like the slow rhythm of a river. When it was time for the traders to return to their camp, Asha stood up and gathered her woven cloth. Samuel stood too. Thank you for talking with me, he said politely. Asha nodded. You speak with honesty. It is easy to talk to honest people. Samuel felt a small but meaningful warmth spread through him. He wanted to say something more, but he couldn't find the right words. Instead, he simply watched her walk away, the gentle breeze lifting the ends of her braids. Later in the day, Miguel approached Samuel with some tools he wanted to trade. They talked about work, repairs, and cattle, but even as Samuel listened, part of his mind kept drifting back to Asha, her calm eyes, her soft voice, and the way she had spoken about patience and kindness. That evening, Samuel went for a short walk near the settlement. The sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful colors. He found himself wandering toward the Apache camp again, even without meaning to. He stopped at a respectful distance, watching as the traders prepared their evening meal. He saw Asha laughing quietly with some women, helping them stir a pot of food over the fire. Her laughter was soft, but genuine. It made the simple scene feel warm and alive. Samuel turned away before anyone noticed him watching. He walked back toward the settlement slowly, telling himself that he needed to focus. He was here to finish a task, not to let his heart wander. But deep inside, he knew something important had begun. It was small, like a single spark. Yet even a small spark can grow into something bright and strong if the wind is gentle. Over the next few days, Samuel found himself visiting the Apache traders more often. Sometimes it was an excuse. He needed a blanket, or he wanted to buy herbs for Lily's tired legs. But each time he hoped to see Asha, and she seemed to notice. She always greeted him politely, sometimes with a soft smile. Their conversations grew longer and more comfortable. They shared stories about their families, small jokes, and quiet thoughts about life. Samuel admired her intelligence and grace, while Asha appreciated his honesty and calm nature. Neither of them spoke openly about the connection forming between them. It was still new, still delicate, but both felt it quietly, like the slow rise of morning light across the land. And although Samuel did not know it yet, this gentle connection was about to change his journey in ways he had never imagined. Samuel woke early the next morning with a feeling he could not fully explain. The sky was still quiet, painted in soft gray before sunrise. For the first time in a long while, he felt both excited and nervous. He told himself it was only because Miguel might give him news about the payment. But deep inside, he knew there was more to it. Asha's presence had slowly settled into his thoughts. He walked through the settlement, noticing how calm everything looked. A few people were waking up, preparing fires, feeding animals, or stretching after sleep. When Samuel reached Miguel's small house, he found him repairing a broken wooden gate. "Good morning, Miguel," Samuel greeted politely. Miguel looked up, tired but friendly. "Samuel, you are early today." "I wanted to check how things were," Samuel replied. Miguel sighed, wiping sweat from his forehead even though the sun had not fully risen yet. "I wish I had better news. The water situation is still bad. I am trying to fix everything I can, but it takes time." Samuel could see the tension in Miguel's shoulders, the worry in his eyes. He understood that Miguel needed patience more than anything else, so Samuel nodded calmly. "Take the week. I won't rush you." Miguel looked relieved. "Thank you. You are a good man, Samuel. Not everyone would wait like this." Samuel smiled softly but did not say much. He believed kindness was something people should give freely, not something to brag about. After checking on Lily and adjusting her saddle, Samuel walked toward the Apache trading camp again. He told himself it was simply to say hello and see if they needed help carrying anything. But he knew it was mostly because he hoped to see Asha. When he reached the camp, he saw her sitting near the fire, weaving long strands of bright-colored yarn into a new blanket. She looked focused, yet peaceful. The bright morning light touched her face gently, making her expression calm and warm. Asha noticed Samuel approaching. Her eyes lifted from her work, and she offered him a small, polite smile. "Good morning, Samuel." "Good morning," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady and respectful. Nantan, Asha's uncle, was standing nearby, sharpening a small tool. He turned and greeted Samuel with a nod. "It seems you enjoy visiting us." Samuel felt slightly embarrassed, but stayed honest. "Your camp is peaceful. I like being around honest people." Nantan smiled knowingly and went back to his work. Samuel took a seat on a smooth rock a little distance from Asha. He watched her weave for a moment before speaking. "Your blankets always look beautiful. How long does it take to finish one?" Asha gently brushed a strand of yarn between her fingers. "Many days, sometimes a week. It depends on the pattern and the colors." Then she looked at him with soft eyes. "Everything worth keeping takes time." Samuel felt the meaning of her words settle deep inside him. She was not only talking about blankets. She had a way of speaking where simple sentences carried deeper truth. They talked for a while, and the conversation moved naturally. Asha asked about his horses, and Samuel described their different personalities, how Lily was calm, while another horse back home was always restless. Asha listened with gentle interest. "You treat your horses like family," she said. "They are," Samuel replied. "They depend on me, and I depend on them." Asha nodded, understanding his point completely. More traders arrived, bringing baskets and herbs. Samuel helped an older man carry a large bundle, earning a grateful smile. Asha watched him from a distance, her expression thoughtful. She admired how Samuel treated everyone, with patience, with respect, with a steady kindness that never seemed forced. Later that day, Samuel sat with Nantan and some elders, listening to stories about the land and how the seasons changed the way people lived. Asha joined them, sitting quietly near her uncle. The group shared roasted corn and warm tea. Samuel felt more welcomed than he expected. At one point, Asha spoke gently. "Some people only show kindness when they want something, but you show it even when you expect nothing in return." Samuel looked at her, surprised by her perception. "I just try to do what feels right." "That is rare," Asha replied. It was the first time Samuel felt something shift between them, not spoken, not obvious, but real. Their eyes met for a brief moment, and in that moment, he felt something warm, honest, and promising. Over the next 2 days, Samuel found himself spending more time with the traders. He helped repair a loose part of their wagon, carried water from a nearby spring, and even played a small game with two children who followed him around, laughing at his jokes. Asha watched him quietly, noticing how he never complained, how he never spoke harshly, and how he treated every person with equal respect. These qualities were important in her community: kindness, calmness, and responsibility. One evening, after finishing her work, Asha walked to the edge of the camp where Samuel was tying a rope. He looked up as she approached. "Samuel," she began softly, "may I speak with you for a moment?" Samuel nodded and stepped aside so they could talk privately. Asha took a slow breath, choosing her words carefully. "I have seen how you act with people. You speak gently. You help without being asked. You do not look down on anyone. These things matter greatly." Samuel's heart beat a little faster. He did not know what she was leading toward. Asha continued, her voice calm but filled with sincerity. "In my community, we believe that a person shows their true spirit by their actions, not their words. I have watched your actions, and they show a good spirit." Samuel felt warmth rise in his chest. "Thank you. That means a lot, especially from you." Asha looked up, meeting his eyes. "I feel safe when you are near." The world seemed to pause for a moment. The breeze was gentle. The sky was deep blue. Samuel felt a sudden, quiet emotion he had never felt before. Something strong, yet peaceful. "I feel the same," he said honestly. Asha lowered her gaze shyly, but she smiled. "I thought so." Their conversation remained gentle and simple, but the meaning behind the words was powerful. Something real had grown between them. Something neither of them had planned or expected. That night, Asha returned to her family's side. She spoke quietly with her uncle and the elders, explaining what her heart felt. In her community, decisions of the heart were taken seriously. No one forced her. She chose her own path. The elders listened and watched her carefully. Then Nantan asked her a few questions about Samuel's character, his respect, his intentions. Asha answered with calm certainty. Finally, Nantan nodded. "If you choose him with a clear heart, then we will support you. You are not choosing out of fear or pressure. You are choosing freely." Asha thanked her uncle quietly. She felt peaceful, not excited like a child, but calm like someone taking a meaningful step in life. The next morning, Samuel was packing his small bag, preparing to visit Miguel again. He heard soft footsteps approaching and turned to see Asha standing beside him. Her expression was gentle but serious. "Samuel," she said softly, "I need to tell you something." Samuel stopped what he was doing. He felt his heart begin to beat faster, sensing the importance of her words. Asha took a slow breath, gathering her courage. "I have spoken with my elders. I have told them what I feel." She paused. "I choose to go with you." Samuel froze for a moment, completely taken by surprise. You choose to come with me?" Asha nodded. "Yes, I choose freely. Not because I must. Not because anyone tells me, but because I want to." Samuel felt overwhelmed. "Asha, I don't want to take you away from your family. I don't want you to regret anything." "I will not regret," she said firmly, though her voice remained soft. "My family supports me. They trust my heart." Samuel looked into her eyes and saw sincerity deeper than anything he had felt before. He remembered every moment they had spent, her calm confidence, her kindness, the gentle connection they shared. "But are you sure I can make you happy?" he asked honestly. "I come from a different world. I do not know all your ways." Asha smiled softly. "We will learn each other's ways. That is what partnership means." Samuel felt his heart swell with a mixture of gratitude, admiration, and a quiet joy he had not known before. He nodded slowly. If you choose this path, then I promise I will honor you, respect your family, and do my best every day. Asha's smile grew warmer. That is all I need. With those simple, clear words, a decision was made. A decision born from kindness, understanding, and a connection that neither of them had planned but both accepted with open hearts. And though Samuel did not fully understand what the future would bring, he knew one thing for certain. His life had changed forever, and in the best possible way. The morning sun touched the mountains with a warm golden color as Miguel prepared to leave the Apache village. The night before had been full of emotions, conversations, and unexpected turns. He had arrived to collect a debt, but life had changed his path. Now he found himself packing his small bag, unsure of what the future would bring. His heart felt heavy and hopeful at the same time. Nayeli stood a few steps away, watching him quietly. She had always been calm, but that morning she looked thoughtful, as if she was preparing for her own journey. The village was slowly waking up. Children ran outside their homes, women prepared warm morning food, and older men gathered near the fire to talk. Everything felt peaceful, yet something inside Miguel kept telling him his life was about to change once again. When Miguel finished packing, he walked toward Nayeli. She smiled softly, and the gentleness in her eyes made him pause. He had met many people in his life, traders, travelers, ranchers, but none had looked at him the way she did. Her presence felt like quiet strength. "You are leaving," Nayeli said, her voice calm but filled with meaning. Miguel nodded slowly. "I must return. I came here for work, and people are waiting for me." She lowered her eyes for a moment, then looked up again. "And what do you feel?" Miguel took a deep breath. "I feel like I'm walking away from something important, something I didn't expect to find." Nayeli didn't look surprised. "Sometimes a journey brings more than what we look for." Her words touched his heart more deeply than he expected. He wanted to say many things, but for a moment he remained silent. Before he could speak, Nayeli reached out and placed a handmade necklace in his palm. It was simple, made of small stones and thread, but carefully crafted. "This is for your journey," she said, "a reminder of kindness and trust." Miguel held the necklace gently. "Thank you. I will keep it." He turned toward his horse, but before he could mount, an older Apache man approached them. It was Nayeli's uncle, a respected voice in the village. He studied Miguel for a moment, then spoke in a thoughtful tone. "You showed respect and honesty," the elder said. "We do not forget such behavior, but before you ride away, you must hear something important." Miguel waited, unsure of what was coming. The elder continued, "Nayeli has made a choice. She wishes to go with you." Miguel froze. His breath caught in his chest. He looked at Nayeli, who met his eyes calmly, without fear or hesitation. The elder added, "In our ways, a woman chooses her path. She has chosen you, not because she must, but because she feels her future is connected with yours." Miguel felt the world slow around him. He remembered every moment he had spent with her, the way she spoke, the calm steadiness she carried, the simple kindness she showed even when he was a stranger. But he also knew the responsibility such a choice carried. He did not want to take a step unless he could honor it. "Nayeli," he said softly, "this is a big decision. Life outside this valley is different. It can be difficult. I cannot promise everything will be easy." She smiled slightly. "Life changes everywhere. I am not afraid of change. I want to walk where my heart guides me." Miguel felt his chest warm. For the first time in years, he felt seen. Not as a man doing a job, not as a traveler passing through, but as someone worth choosing. Still, he needed to be sure. "Are you certain that this is what you want?" Nayeli nodded. I have thought about it deeply. You listened to me with respect, you spoke with honesty, and you did not take advantage of your strength. You showed the heart of someone who does not harm. That is why I choose you." The elder stepped back, giving them space. "If you both decide this together, then it is your shared path." Miguel stood in silence for a long moment. His mind rushed through possibilities, the ranch work waiting for him, the long roads he still needed to travel, and the uncertain future ahead. But above all, he felt a clear truth rising inside him. He did not want to walk away from Nayeli. His journey had led him here for a reason he could not deny. Slowly, he reached out his hand. Nayeli placed her hand in his, and in that simple touch, a promise formed between them. "I choose this path too," Miguel said. A soft breeze passed through the village, and for a moment everything felt still, as if the world itself was acknowledging their decision. Nayeli's uncle nodded with approval and stepped forward. "Then go with peace and with respect. Treat each other with care. The world is large, but two hearts walking together can make it feel smaller." Miguel helped Nayeli onto his horse. She moved with natural balance, as if she had always known how to ride. Miguel mounted behind her, and the gentle warmth of her presence made him feel steady and sure. They began riding away from the village slowly. Many people stood at the edge of the homes, quietly watching. There were no loud farewells, no dramatic scenes, just peaceful acceptance. The Apache people valued choice, and they respected Nayeli's decision. As they moved further away, the village grew smaller behind them. Nayeli looked back one last time, then turned her gaze toward the open land ahead. "Are you ready?" Miguel asked gently. She nodded. "Yes. Wherever this road leads, I will walk it with strength." Miguel smiled. "We will face everything together." They traveled through wide fields and winding paths, talking softly as they rode. Nayeli asked him about the towns he had visited, the people he had met, and the work he had done. Miguel shared stories he had never told anyone before, stories about his childhood, his dreams, and the choices that had shaped him. In return, Nayeli spoke about her own world, her traditions, the values her elders taught her, and the way she saw life. Miguel listened with deep interest. Her words opened his eyes to ideas he had never considered. As the sun reached its highest point, they stopped to rest under the shade of a large tree. Nayeli gathered wild berries, while Miguel fetched water from a small stream. They shared their small meal, smiling at the quiet peacefulness around them. Later, as they continued riding, Miguel felt something new growing between them, an unspoken understanding that did not need to be rushed. Their bond was not built on dramatic moments, but on respect, kindness, and the gentle courage to choose each other. By evening, they reached a place where the land opened into a wide valley. They decided to stop there for the night. Miguel prepared a small fire, while Nayeli arranged their blankets. The sky turned purple and orange as the sun began to set. They sat close to the fire, the warmth touching their faces. The quiet night wrapped around them like a gentle blanket. Miguel looked at Nayeli, who gazed at the stars above. She said softly, "I feel at peace." Miguel nodded. "So do I." Her eyes met his. This journey, this beginning, it was not planned. But sometimes the best paths are the ones we never expect. Miguel smiled with gratitude. "You changed my path, Nayeli. I came for something simple, but I am leaving with something far more important." Nayeli touched the necklace she had given him earlier. Some connections are written long before we see them. As the fire crackled softly, Miguel felt a deep calm settle in his heart. The future was unknown, but he was no longer afraid of it. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. Nayeli leaned gently against his shoulder, trusting and serene. Miguel wrapped his arm around her, and they sat together under the open sky, two travelers beginning a new life, side by side. Their story had started with a simple mission, to collect a debt, but it grew into something that neither of them could have predicted. In the quiet of the night, surrounded by the scent of earth and the glow of the fire, Miguel realized that some journeys are not about finding what you expect, but about discovering what your heart truly needs. And as the stars shone brightly above them, they both knew this was only the beginning of a long, shared path, one chosen freely, walked with trust, and filled with hope.